didn't get here until about 4:30. So even though I wasn't thinking about that, I dismissed it from my mind at the onset of leaving. I went, that's okay. I'm going to get there when I get there. No one really matters. It's not going to cause anyone any problems or anything like that. And I got rid of any of those cyclical thoughts, but there was still just this feeling because it was an awareness. That's a thinking too. You know, you walk in the room and there's just this sense of knowing something. Oh, you know, I wonder if they did the dishes. You know, I wonder if they did that again. Oh, God, is this going to happen? And sometimes you have the actual thought in your head, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's just, you just know, you just feel it. And the feeling is telling you you're thinking it, even though it's not a verbal thinking. So the wonderful thing, Ankush, you know, I talked to Ankush and I go, Ankush, it's amazing. This stuff's fabulous. It changed my life. You know, it's been 2 months and oh my God, cannot believe, like, I just love it. And he goes, you haven't even scratched the surface yet. I said, wow, really? What more is there to it? And he said, you know what? I said the exact same thing. After the first 2-hour workshop that I took with Jamie, I said, wow, this is amazing. And he goes, great. You know, we're going to do this entire weekend workshop in 2 weeks from now. You want to come? And he goes, yeah, sure, I'd love to come. What are you teaching there? He says, the exact same thing I taught today. He says, what do you mean? And he goes, well, we're just going to go deeper. And it's amazing how all life follows this same spiral pattern. There's just everything I come across. You know, your muscles are just twisted spirals of strands that, as they twist and get tighter and tighter, they compress and cause density, which causes strength, but also causes pain and issues. And as they loosen, you lose strength, but you know, you get other things. You got nautilus shells. They got, you know, the spiral pattern. You got, you know, everything in life, DNA. It's all got this spiral pattern. And as we expand as human beings, we follow this upward spiral where we get a little bit better, and we grow, and we go, oh wow, I've got it now. Aha! I've got it finally. Yes. Never again will I ever experience that. Fabulous. And then 2 weeks later, you find yourself back in the same situation, and you go, fuck, I thought I had it. And it's a very demotivating feeling, because then you go, well, I guess I didn't get it. I guess that wasn't it. Fuck it, I gotta go find another thing now. You know, there's a common phrase within the self-development community called workshop junkies. And I always prided myself, I've never been a workshop junkie, but I've been a self-development junkie. I've always gone from one thing to the next, trying to find that little nugget, trying to find that other thing. And a lot of these people who have come across clarity, they stopped doing that. I'm always going to continue expanding myself and digging deeper and learning more, but I've stopped looking for the trick. I've stopped looking for that next, well, that wasn't it. Maybe it's this. Well, maybe I need to find that, because there isn't something. You just get a little bit better. If you listen to the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or if you read it, Stephen Covey says, it's wonderful because as we progress and we get a little bit better, these habits just become something we can master at an even higher level. And the most successful people in the world, people see them from way over here and way down here, and you go, they've attained this level of mastery, and it's all perfect for them. I wish I could be like that guy. I wish I could be Mark Zuckerberg. I wish I could be Steve Jobs. You know, I wish I could be Liam Neeson or some other famous actor. God, they must be perfect for them. But you talk to them, and I know people who have talked to them. I know people who have coached them. And I know some people who are, I'm currently receiving one-on-one coaching from a guy. He's made over 45 millionaires in under a year. They become a millionaire from working with the guy. And he's helped people build companies that are worth over $500 million, and they attribute him teaching them things to their success. And I know people who are, they travel around the world. All they do is coach people how to be happier and be more successful. And you talk to them and they say, no, I still have shit. Still happens. Just yesterday. You go, really? They go, yep. Well, then why should I listen to you? Well, because everyone does, and we just get a little bit better at it. Rather than I used to spend 3 months in a funk. I went down to about 3 weeks, then it went down to about a week. Now it's down to about a day. Sometimes it's down to a couple minutes. So you get a little bit better. The people I was listening to today on the way here, these guys are, they got PhDs and MBAs, and they're paid $10,000 for a 6-month coaching program, and some of them are getting hundreds of $1,000s for a year coaching program, and $60,000 for a weekend workshop. And people go, how on earth is it worth that money? Because if you go back to that question I asked you at the beginning, if you could figure out how to overcome that one thing that's holding you back and get everything you ever wanted in life, what's that worth to you? Is it worth $50? Worth $1,000? Is it worth $100,000, or is it priceless? I don't know about you, but I'm currently committed to paying every goddamn dollar that I have to spend into getting better as a person. And Ankush said, I want you to pay me what is uncomfortable. I'm not really too much concerned with the value of that. If that's $50 a week or if that's $500,000, I don't care. I want you to be uncomfortable, because that's going to make it worth it. That's going to make you value what I'm teaching you.
Something very similar in Native American tribalism. It's you offer tobacco to elders for knowledge, because then you're trading them something that's worth to you, and because that information that they're going to give you is worth that, and they let you determine how much it is that it is. How much do you value that information? And it's up to you to determine what that is.
Yeah.
It's very, very similar. I appreciate that quite thoroughly.
Yeah, and I hadn't heard it with tobacco before. I'd heard other cultures where they do the same thing, and people come and they trade for one thing or another, and I've seen them exchange things, and people say, well, that's not worth that, and when you talk to the two people, they say, well, it doesn't matter what it's worth to someone else, it's what it's worth to you. If this spoon is a spoon that your mom gave you when you were 3 years old, and it is your most precious possession in the world, and this other guy has a Ferrari and it's his most precious possession in the world, that is a fair exchange. So when we're delving into these things and we're pursuing our path of getting better as people and of realizing our goals and dreams, we hit these moments where things don't go the way we want, and it's going to happen. It's inevitable. Like I said, it was happened to me as recently as yesterday. On the way here, I'm blowing around all over the road, and yeah, it's a windy day, but something just didn't feel right. And I started feeling scared. And at first I dismissed it, because I went, oh, it's just your fear that something's wrong with your car. And I went, okay. But then I went, well, why did I just dismiss it? Maybe that's a valid fear. There's a thought, what could be wrong with my car? So I went and I stopped, and I waited until I found a rest area. I didn't panic and pull over. I went, I'm fine. I'm driving well enough. Things aren't falling apart on me. But maybe it's, I'd gotten my tires changed a while back, and I did this and that. Maybe they need I never went and got them retightened. Maybe that's what it is. And that's why I'm starting worrying, oh my God, my tire's going to fall off. Holy shit. That's why I'm afraid. Oh, well, that's an irrelevant fear. You don't need to worry about that. Pardon me?
Running from your own shadow.
Yeah. So that's why I dismissed it at first. I went, well, I didn't tighten them. Maybe I should. That's reasonable. How long is it going to take me to do that? But I'm going to be late. Well, how long is it going to take me to do? Okay, it might take me 30 seconds or it might take me 5 minutes, but if I'm dead, I'm not going to get there anyway. So I get off and I come back and I grab my car and go to the bathroom. I come back and I'm looking at my car and I test the tires, and I admit I did not tighten the bolts, but I've gotten a lot of tire changes and a lot of things over the years, and never once when I've actually gone back to re-torque them have they ever actually budged an inch. So I honestly thought it was an irrelevant fear, and I checked the wheel and it was on there good. So it couldn't have been loose enough that it was causing me these issues, so I went, whatever. I'll check it later when I got a little more time and I'm feeling a little better. But I'm check my tires. Maybe one's low, maybe something. So I'm looking and holy shit, my back tires are bald. Got the thing oil changed not that long ago. Like, it was in there. They're supposed to give it a 360 inspection. They're supposed to check everything. They didn't tell me these bald tires. So I found the thing. And with this understanding, I'm hoping that as you move forward in your lives, that when you get fear, when you get anger, when you realize, and it's not always going to happen in the moment, it might, and if it does, awesome. You are going to realize it immediately and you're going to go, whew, ha, great. And you're going to stop yourself and you're going to redirect and it's going to be perfect. And other times, you're not going to do that. And people might say, well, I thought you were better now. I thought you learned something. Ooh, And you judge yourself. And anytime I catch myself doing that, I go, well, you know what? I'm so grateful that I'm losing my temper in these moments, because if I was able to maintain my temper all the time and being nothing but happy, I would be ignorant. I would not have any growth. The level of growth I have attained is all I would ever reach. So now as I move forward, anytime I get angry, anytime I get depressed and sad, just last weekend I got so burnt out that I figured, I'll take the night off and I'll watch some TV, and I've stopped watching TV as much as possible because it's not productive. I'm really trying to be productive, and it's demotivating. You start watching it and then you're like, I don't want to do that, I'll just watch some more TV. So I started watching TV, and then afterwards, when I wake up the next day and God, I'm so tired, I just don't want to do it. Well, maybe I'll do it this afternoon. I'll just watch some more TV for a little while. And all the day went away, and then the next day I woke up and I went, shit, I didn't do anything yesterday. Well, I feel kind of shitty about that, so I'll take my mind off it by watching a TV show or two. And then after that, I'll feel better about it, and then I'll get on with my day. So half the day went away, and then finally I went, I'm fucking not getting out of this. And it was really uncomfortable to stop. It was really unpleasant to stop that, because it's so comfortable for me to sit there. I used to do it for days on end watching TV. I'm a self-confessed TV addict. It's a mind suck. I can turn off the brain and I can stop thinking like, holy. So it was so uncomfortable to stop. And then the reason why it was so uncomfortable, which I realized, and I realized before, but I realized in such clear light in that moment, was that when I have to walk out of that moment of being sucked in and having my mind turned off, I have to admit to myself, I have been doing nothing but avoiding all of my responsibilities. I have been unfaithful to myself, no one else. At first I was feeling really bad because I was supposed to drive up to Cold Lake and I was supposed to go to this trade show and walk around and see the businesses there and rub some elbows. And I was supposed to talk to one of the business people for my boss who was in Edmonton that weekend and, drop some stuff and whatever else. I'm going, God, Lisa's going to be really, really disappointed if I don't do this for her. I promised her, I agreed that I would do it and all this kind of stuff. And then I ended up realizing that wasn't it at all. It was not about her. It was not about how let down she was going to be. It was because I let myself down, because I promised someone else. I gave my word, I made an agreement, and now I didn't live up to it. I violated my own principles, and that's why it hurt so bad, because I had to face that. I used to be like a complete chronic pot smoker because it allowed me to not have to face that. And I would walk around my apartment and it was filthy because I didn't do the dishes and I didn't clean and I didn't do this and that and all these other things, and there were all these things I had wanted to do and projects, and I would walk and I would see them and I would just cringe and I would feel myself pulling inwards because I didn't want to face the fact that I wasn't living up to my own standards and my own values and my own promises to myself. So I would smoke another bowl and watch some more TV. And now...
It's a Double Effects lyric, actually, from his most recent album.
Yeah?
You can hide in the smoke that you blaze. Use it to hide from your negative ways, something like that. It's actually incredible. Sorry.
No, thank you.
It's really synchronistic. I've been listening to that album for the last week. And it's just, it's kind of incredible that you're saying pretty much the exact same thing that I've been, because, just share a little bit, I've been an addict all my life, pretty much, ever since I was about 13, 14. I started smoking weed, and it enabled me to just not give a fuck, right? And I really relished in the idea of not giving a fuck most of my life. And it's only been within the last 2 years, 9 months, and 12 days that I've actually had to deal with my emotions and deal with my life and deal with things, right, and not seek that escapism. So it's just kind of incredible because recently, within the last, I don't know if anybody here has ever gone sober for any extended period of time, but if you have, you'll know that every month, every 3 months, and every 3 months, it's like clockwork. You start to crave, you start to feel like you could probably smoke a joint and not feel so bad, but then, you realize that that's not the right decision, so you don't do that, and then you feel kind of sketchy and kind of shitty because you want to, and you're just denying yourself, and then, just to hear that, you say that, and then also to hear it, said again in an album that I've been listening to, it's just kind of incredible. I really appreciate that. Sorry, I just wanted to share that.
Thank you so much for sharing. It takes a lot of courage to share that, and I hope you don't mind that that's all been caught, and that I will probably be showing this to some other people.
It morphine addict, and I wasn't eating it orally. You know what I mean? And it was like a hard trip to get off of that shit. And now I'm so far out of it, you could pay me to touch it. Still going to that.
So here's an interesting thing.
It is easier. It's just time.
Well, here's an interesting thing. How long has it been?
Oh fuck, like over 10 years now.
Okay, so Ryan,
Stop counting.
and that's an interesting thing that I noticed is 2 years, 9 months, and 12 days, and I went, wow, that's amazing. You still know exactly when, and then I went, well, and then you're talking about every 3 months, and that's a self-programmed thing, because you believe that every 3 months you're going to be faced with this challenge again. And so you will be until you no longer expect to. When I first quit, and I tell you, I quit, honestly, I don't know how long it's been anymore. It's somewhere 4 or 5 weeks. I'm not entirely certain, but I was keeping track to the day. I knew, and I'd say, it's been 3 weeks. It's been, 12 days. And then, yeah, of course. Just no phones. Don't be loud. I want to talk really loud. But I was keeping real firm track, and at first it was because it made me feel good about myself that I'd managed to last that long, but I kept. And you know how when you first quit smoking weed, you start getting your dreams back, because you still dream when you smoke weed, but you don't experience them as well. There's just something with your brain waves and the way it works. You still dream, your brain does it. And you might even wake up with an emotion you kind of recall or something, but you just don't get that experience level. So I was looking forward to my dreams again. I love dreams. One of my favorite things, I used to, I'd sleep a ton just so I could get a little bit of that dream kick. And it was never enough because I wasn't fully experiencing them. And I smoked that synthetic weed stuff for quite a long time because it was great because you'd get your dreams back, but you'd still get high. It was awesome. Then that shit's got some really bad side effects. That's a whole other story, but not healthy like they proclaim. So when I first started getting my dreams back, I ended up having a lot of these dreams of... Yeah, we're just about to wrap up.
Okay, I just if anybody wanted to come to laughter yoga, I just wanted you guys to know it's going to be on soon. So I can hold them back. How much time do you need?
We'll wrap it up in like the next 5-10 minutes.
5-10 minutes? Okay, where are you going to go? Is anybody in here planning to go to laughter yoga? Yes. Yes? You're just finishing that? Anybody here? You guys are all good?
I think so.
You good? Yeah. Okay.
And we can keep going if you guys want to, too. It's your call. I'm flexible. So, when I first started experiencing my dreams again, I had a lot of these dreams about... I would find myself suddenly drunk. And I used to...
Yeah, it's a parallel universe trying to get through.
Well, whenever I'd quit smoking weed before, I always would revert to drinking instead, so that I could manage my anxieties and my emotions and this and that. But this is the first time I've ever been able to just quit, and I just stopped. And this was still months after I became across clarity, but I started engaging in these other activities that caused me to become just fired up and charged. And I lost any interest in even smoking weed or getting drunk. I used to, and I would think about it when I come home, and I'd go, oh God, I just want to smoke a bowl before, oh God, or I'm gonna watch some TV if I just smoke a bowl, or if I just have a drink, it'll make it much more enjoyable or whatever. I stopped even having those at all, period. I find myself, it's 11 o'clock at night and I'm still going, I'm still doing this and that, and I go, not once today, not all day at work, not all day today, and not even right now do I want it. I'm just thinking about it, but I don't want it. And it was great. But then I'd have these dreams where I'd be at a party and there'd be a lot of people there, and people would be saying, hey, do you want a drink? And I'd say, no, thank you. I'm clean and sober, really happy. You guys have your... And then somehow, accidentally, I would get drunk.
Yeah, that's how I get drunk too, man.
Well, but like, and I find myself holding a drink, and I go, how did this happen? And and I'm drunk now, and I'm going, what's going on? Or I'd wake up, I'm suddenly stoned, and I'm going, what the hell happened? I didn't mean to. Why? And it was a fear that I'd let myself lose control, that I'd violate my own principles again, that I would end up in a moment with a lack of self-control. And that's what you experience, is this fear, why you hold on to. That's why the chip, the Alcoholics Anonymous chip, as an anchor that I've come this far, and if I give this up, I have to come this far again. At first I was like, I need to go get a chip. I need to make one. I need to do something, because then I'll have some way to realize, oh, I've come so far, and if I go back, I have to come this far again. It's so far. I wouldn't want to do that. So, but that's not the solution. The solution is to realize that The reason why we don't is because of ourselves, because we don't want to. And so yesterday, when I was in a lot of emotional pain and experiencing a lot of anger and anxiety and all these issues, I went, God, I just wish I could smoke a bowl right now and get away from it, and it feels so good. And then I went, that's the coward's way out. I don't really want that. I want to not be in pain. Why am I in pain? Because I'm thinking about this in this way, and these thoughts are telling me that something is not right.
Like, that's something that I had to come to grips with. Like, I was in a treatment program for about 14 months, and I was forced to go to meetings like 5 days a week. So I was starting to get indoctrinated. Starting to go, okay, well, I'm an addict, and I have to tell myself I'm an addict. Every single time I go to one of these meetings, I have to admit I'm an addict. I empower other souls in my addiction. And that wasn't for me. The way that I looked at it is, a program that has a 90% fail rate is not a program that works.
No, it's not.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
So that's something that I ended up stopped going to the meetings, and I've been great for the most part, you know what I mean? And like when I first got out of treatment and stuff like that, all I could think about was not getting high. And always talking about treatment and not getting high, and I'm sober, and like always talking about those things, right? And it was because I didn't want to deal with the wreckage that I had caused in my life, for one. And the other part of it too was that I didn't want to go through the work of building up a new life, and so that I have other things that I can talk about other than just not getting high. So it's been, like I said, I can count the days and I can count them perfectly because I can count them, and I can count them perfectly because I've got this number in my phone, and it's basically, it tells me right down to how many seconds I can actually pull up the amount of seconds right here. And so what is it? 88,110,146 seconds. Like, it actually gives me the seconds because it typed in my clean date. So the reason why I keep track and the agreement that I made with myself is that I'm going to be clean for 5 years. I gave myself a 5-year fucking time limit on this. So I'm counting the days up until that 5th year passes, and then I'll reassess my want of not getting high or getting high. The other part of it that's like my history when it comes to drugs and not being able to use them, because I had done so many chemicals, it altered my brain chemistry and kind of fractured the way that my mind processes information. So if I get high, I very easily want to get high on everything else, and then I'll use that, and take it and let it take me into like a psychosis. And I've also been diagnosed with bipolarity. So if I smoke a joint, like let's say most people when they smoke a joint, they're like, yeah, let's just chill, get some chips, fucking play some video games and pass out. Whereas with me, if I smoke a joint, I'll be up for 2 days. Right, so it's just the way my brain chemistry works now. So the last time that I was in the Alberta hospital, I was talking to the doctors there, and they said, if you decide to get high again, you are probably going to end up living here for the rest of your life. Look around you. Do you want to live here for the rest of your life? No. Okay, well then that's your answer. Like, stop getting high. And like that was really the reason. So I don't really have a choice. You know what I mean? But I've given myself the option and the ability to have that choice. The reason why the whole 3-month thing is actually a physiological thing. Every extended amount of time that passes, physiologically you start to feel this. You actually you start to have the dreams. These things happen, and it's not because it's been implanted. It's like a physiological thing. People who are addicts or become addicted to things like that, they have a different kind of brain compared to a person. So there's like a hard brain and a soft brain. I can continue on.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Yes. Sorry.
No worries. So first off, just so you know, I don't think any of that's wrong. I don't think any of that is a bad thing or necessarily needs to be stopped. And I'm not here to tell you that you should. Like you say, you've made an agreement with yourself to make a reevaluation at a certain point in time, which is what I told myself I would do as well. And so that's why at first I was counting. And I asked myself a question. Well, what would be different after a year that would change my decision? And I realized the answer was, well, if I realized it wasn't serving me, I wouldn't do it anymore. And I said, okay, well, that's fine. So if I truly believe that at that time, reevaluating it is going to come up with a different decision, that's fair enough. And I will do so in the future when that happens, when I feel that. But until I feel that this is no longer serving me, I don't even need to set a deadline on it. Because I know it's serving me, so until that changes, that I no longer feel it is serving me. So now, like last night, when I went, is this serving me? I evaluated it, and I went, it is. On my birthday, I had a single drink. I bought a very expensive shot of a really nice whiskey for my birthday, and I drank that, and I savored every little drop of it, and it was wonderful. And then I went, I should have another. I should drink some wine with this steak now. And then I went, well, is that going to serve me? This whiskey really served me because it was an experience. I enjoyed it. I got a little bit of a buzz on. It took the edge off. But is that going to really serve me to have another? No, it's not. So I didn't. And at any moment, any point in time, at Motion Notion, I will evaluate it, and I kept saying, well, at Motion Notion, maybe I'll do this, or at Motion Notion, maybe I'll do that. And I would say, well, at Motion Notion, I know I'll do this, and I'm planning I'll do that. And then I went, well, I don't know, because that's in the future, and I'm only ever in the present. We are never in the past. We are never in the future. We are only ever in the now. And we are always experiencing our thinking and feeling those in the moment, in the present now. So when we put deadlines on things and we put anxiety into it, and it's fine to make agreements that at this point in time I will remember to reevaluate it. Okay, so until that point in time, I'll dismiss it. I don't need to think about it until then. I don't need to think about Motion Notion until I get to Motion Notion.